How's it going, Preston Outdoors fans? Welcome back to another video. I'm your host here, Ethan Preston. As you can see by the title of this video, we're going to be recapping, reliving, and diving into the last Bassmaster Central Open of 2020 on Lewisville Lake in Lewisville, Texas. As I mentioned, the Lake Lewisville event was the last Bassmaster Central Open of 2020. Everything got rescheduled because of the pandemic and stuff like that, so I ended up fishing and finishing up the week before Thanksgiving. As you can tell here, we're doing this recap video, not in Texas, but in my garage. Tried to find the best lighting and stuff that we could. We've got snow on the ground and everything like that, but I wanted to let you guys know how I caught them, how we had success, stuff like that, and give a little bit of recap of the year. First off, I want to give a shout out to Kent Middlestead. I was able to go and practice with Kent once again, just like I did down at Neely Henry. So there's a lot of help to be able to get out there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday before the event kicked off on a Thursday. Kind of get back in the mojo, figure out what's biting. Not necessarily get on the right lure, get on the right pattern, stuff like that, but be able to see the lake, see the watercolor, see how the fish may be reacting, stuff like that. So I was able to go ahead and do that and be successful. So like all the other recap videos, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the rods, reel, line, lures, and what I had success on, and kind of tell you what clued me into maybe picking up that lure and stuff like that and having success. So what we're going to dive into first is the first fish that I actually caught on day number one. First bite, everything like that for me. Mark Watson was my boater on day number one. He threw a jig quite a bit. We were fishing rock structure, drop-offs, some flats, some points, stuff like that. And I threw a crankbait around a lot. I threw, can't remember what else I threw, but didn't really have success on. He did get a few smaller bites on a jig. So he was using, I think, a smaller one, maybe ½ ounce, 3/8 ounce, something like that. More of a compact finesse jig. I went the opposite way. I finally tied on. This is I don't know how well you can see that. This is a ½ ounce stand-up football jig. This is one that I actually make here in the garage. Make them every spring. This is the first year I actually made these bigger football jigs. This is a brown silicone skirt with a living rubber skirt in there, my own recipe and different strands and stuff like that. I have a video on the channel talking about making these baits. And then contrast to the water was a little bit dirtier. I had the Preston Outdoors Signature Series 4-inch creature bait. This is June bug color, as you can see here. I got some of the packaging here already. You guys have seen my video on that. If you haven't, I'll leave a card or whatever. You can see this Signature Series. Threw these around. It's a do nothing trailer. Fish were pressured. I didn't want something with a lot of kick or anything like that, so I had that sucker. I'm not going to do it here, but had that sucker on the back and just slowly dragging it. I don't know how well you can see, but there's a bunch of chips and stuff in the paint, drag marks. Fishing a lot of rock with this sucker. Got a big hook on there. As you can see, the first fish here. I have the actual rod, but I have a different reel on there for some reason. I must have been switching stuff on day number two. But this is the rod that I fish a lot of jigs with, a lot of top water stuff with. Probably my favorite all-around rod, especially for the price that Cast King makes. This is the Cast King Perigee 2. This is a 7.4 heavy. Like I said, I use it a lot. I did have a Cast King Speed Demon on there. This is not the exact one. I had 20-pound Cast King Covert fluorocarbon, 100% fluorocarbon. This one's got braid on it. It's just a different one, but I wanted to show you the Speed Demon reel. And it was a cast it out as far as you could and just drag super, super slow. And I'll show you the head on this jig again. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's flat, and obviously it's a football head, so when that thing hits a rock, it's going to ricochet and roll, and that's going to walk and do the action for the bait for you. Like I mentioned, it doesn't have a lot of kicking appendages. You pull these apart and it kind of just flutters and falls. But when this jig is working across the rocks, it's flipping that tail up and over. So it kind of does the work for you. Kind of a do-nothing trailer, because I'm not hopping, stroking, anything like that with this. Kind of slowly dragging it, maybe reeling it, something like that. So it was a pretty good bait combo for me. And I went the opposite of Mark did. He was throwing a jig a lot, like I said. That means telling me he was getting bites towards the bottom. And I went bigger, I went bulkier, so that living rubber jig really sprawls out, gives a big, beefy profile. And you know, he had told me that in practice he had caught some really big fish. So I said, what the heck, if we got one bite, you know, one bite could have been a 8-9 pounder, would have done super well for me. Continuing on with what we had success on day number 1, it was a drop shot. Imagine that, we go from a big jig to a small drop shot. Again, I got to give a big shout out to Kent Middlestead. He fished a drop shot a lot on Sam Rayburn, gave me a lot of tips on how to Texas rig it, how to hide the hook, stuff like that. So it was weedless, so I had some confidence throwing it around cover. Either stick up stuff like that, shallow stick ups, or we were actually fishing some old, I can't remember if it was a house foundation, something like that under the water when Lewisville Lake and Lake Dallas connected. Some homes, or I don't know what it was, basically some man-made structure was flooded, and so there was fish hanging around it, as you can see here.
I think so.
Another big shout out to a buddy of mine is Cannon Rush. Cannon was actually able to turn me on and tell me about using robo worms. I haven't used them a whole lot, but that's what I was using for a bait with a, I think it was a VMC Finesse Nico hook, I believe, so I was able to Texas rig it. When I'm fishing the foundations and stuff, yes, obviously you can feel the wall, the cinder block, stuff like that, but I was able to actually find some stuff after fan casting, feel some portions of the foundation, and all of a sudden there was a piece of, I would assume, cement or something that was off. It was 2 or 3 feet off from dragging that drop shot through there. So tungsten was a big player for me, because then I felt that and I could sit there and shake it. We were also fishing stick ups and stuff on day number 2 that you can see here that I had fish on. Both scenarios, fishing in the stick ups, the sticks, being able to feel underlying, feel me drag across it, a stick that's laying across the bottom that I can't visually see from the top, or fishing chunks off of main house foundations or whatever human structure, that all came down to fishing with tungsten. So what I was using, I don't know how well you can see this here, but this is a Swagger tungsten. This is a half-ounce, kick my rod over, a half-ounce teardrop weight. So a little bit heavier than what everybody likes to throw. Half ounce is typically my size that I love to throw. It casts a long ways. I can feel the bottom at a long distance, and then it just sings through the line when you're using tungsten. So again, this is Swagger tungsten. This is their teardrop weight with the casting eye on there instead of the wedge eye. I've had a lot better luck with these instead of the wedge eye. Drop shot setup, played around with a few rods over the years, and this is starting to become my favorite setup that I have so far. This is the Cast King 7-1 wide-eye walleye powered jig rod. The wide-eye walleye series I've talked in a lot of my videos. It's not just for walleyes, even though the color is green and they look awesome. Have used a lot of bass applications for them, especially the drop shot here. On here I have the Cast King. This is the Emerald Eagle, or the Valiant Eagle, the green Valiant Eagle. It's the Emerald Eagle. This is a 3,000 size reel. I have 15-pound Cast King Super Power braid on my main line, and I was running a 12-pound Cast King 100% fluorocarbon leader on there. Leader length depended, I don't know if it was 5-6 feet, whatever it was. Tied a long leader on there, and then I would retie as the way it goes, so that way I didn't have to, as the tournament would go on, if I was getting bites, rubbing against structure, stuff like that, and my fluorocarbon leader was wearing down, I could just cut it, retie real quick instead of having to tie a whole new leader on there. That's why I made it super extra long. Yeah. So that's the setup I had for that. Day number 2, where I was get some bites, but they never measured. It was an honorable mention for me. I have to give David Drinker a shout out. He was the one that had me switch to the black Cinco he had been catching fish on. He doesn't use a black Cinco. I can't remember the name of the plastic he was using, but he was killing me on it. Catching a lot of fish, fishing super slow. So I don't have one with me right now, but a 3/16 tungsten weight on there, and I had a 4/0. I can't remember what kind of hook it was. If it was a flipping hook or whatever. But drag it super slow using a 5-inch Cinco on there. Black was the color that produced, but I was flipping that around again on the Cast King 7.4 heavy action Para G2 rod. But then I was, since we're fishing around a lot of cover, thick cover, he had a couple fish that got wrapped up. Fishing a lot around the cover, like I said, he had fish wrapped up and stuff like that. I knew I need to get those fish out in a hurry. Woo! So on this reel, I had new in 2020 was the Cast King Speed Demon Elite. You're looking at the fastest gear ratio reel in the market. This is a 10:5-to-1 gear ratio reel, and I had 20 pound. I don't have any line on there because we need to restring all these rods for 2021. But it was once again 20 pound Cast King, 100% fluorocarbon, the covert fluorocarbon line on there, and that was the main reason why we went with a high gear ratio reel, is to get those fish out of cover. So all in all, I weighed in 2 fish for 3 pounds after day number 1, as you saw. Did not weigh in any fish at the end. Actually lost that fish that you saw earlier right next to the boat. Is probably a 2-pounder, which would have helped me in the standings. I finished the tournament on, I think it was 152, 153 co-anglers. I finished in 53rd place. So that was real exciting points-wise. I was kind of upset because I was in the the 20s, something like that, I believe, after day number 1. So there's 2 shots this year that I actually had a chance to fish and finish in the top 12. If you guys aren't familiar, you fish Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's actually a cut. The top 12 pros and the top 12 co-anglers after the second day get to fish the third day. So there's a championship Saturday, they call it. That was one of my goals this year, was to fish one of those. I've been close 3 times now. I think I've fished 4 tournaments, and 3 times I've had a chance. I was either 1 or 2 fish away from actually qualifying for that. So really close. I'm hoping to make it here in 2021. Oh, I forgot to mention. Yeah, that was one of my notes to mention. There was 4 events. There was 2 divisions this year: the Central and the Eastern division. There was 4 tournaments in each division. I fished the Centrals this year. I only fished 3 out of the 4 events. A buddy of mine got married in September, so I was not able to go down to Sam Rayburn. They do AOI, or Angler of the Year, points on the pro and the co-angler side of things. After 3 tournaments, I think I counted up, there's 307, or out of all 4 tournaments, the Centrals, there was 374 co-anglers that competed in the Central division. With only fishing 3 out of the 4 events, so I didn't get any points for the Sam Rayburn event because I basically brought in no fish, didn't fish whatever, 0 points toward my total. I can't remember the total points that I finished, but out of 374 co-anglers, I finished 28th place. So I was able to finish in finish in the top 30 out of 300 and some co-anglers. So again, it's not, if you're trying to make AOI or team championships and stuff like that, it's not all about winning. It's about consistency. And this year, having won, getting a check in the 30th place, a 75th finish, and a 53rd finish, you're not in triple digits, or even 80s, 90s, stuff like that. So it was a real consistent year. I'm really happy with what we could do, but it makes me more hungry on wanting to do more because we were so close on a lot of tournaments and in the points and stuff like that. So coming in here to 2021, we will be fishing the Bassmaster Central Opens again. Yeah, we're going to be fishing those ones again. We're going to be traveling across the country. We will be announcing our new 2021 partners coming up here shortly. And yeah, we're really excited about this year. And we're going to go to some powerhouse fisheries that you've only heard and dreamed of fishing. So I'm excited for 2021. Again, we'll announce our partners hopefully soon. I want to thank you guys for watching. I I know some of these recap videos aren't the most fun to watch, but for me they are, to explain to you what we were targeting and how we were targeting fish and what the equipment I'm able to catch my fish on. So stay tuned. We got some more ice fishing videos coming your way. We did some ice fishing here so far this year, and sorry it took me so long to get these videos out, but life gets in the way sometimes, and work gets in the way sometimes, having me to film this in my garage after dark from getting home. So I truly thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. 2021 is going to be a great year for us here at Preston Outdoors, and we thank your support. And tune in next time to Preston Outdoors.